Oh man, it's Patapon time apparently. Yeah, it's Sunday. It's football Sunday. I don't know. I don't watch football. Maybe it's because I'm Canadian. I don't know. How's it going, y'all? I know football involves men and pants wearing. That's all I know. My request today is this. I always feel kind of bad when the randomization gets something super late when there's stuff that has been waiting for a billion years. But that's kind of what randomization do. Anyways, I gotta do that, and then I gotta press delete. And I'm not even gonna say what it is out loud. I'm assuming that you have, whoa, geez, reading comprehension, such as I have the ability to accidentally stretch out the page. Not used to moving windows around with my stylus, my thing, my Wacom board, rather than a mouse to manipulate things. And everyone, this is Raukau, and I'm gonna answer things that people ask, and I'm gonna, indulge in clicking links. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna trip over our words, probably. It might happen. We're gonna listen to music. We do not have reproduction nor streaming rights. That's fine. Hopefully we won't get caught. And so, why Marseille starts the ball. Do you know Setz? S-E-T-Z. No, I don't. He's an internet person that draws comics about video games and whatnot. This includes, but is not limited to, the Touhou's, Dark Souls, Shovel Knight, and Splatoon. His stuff is usually pretty great. Example! I'd say during... I don't remember if he has any plans for right after DT3, but it's supposed to be done. It shouldn't be an issue. Okay, then afterwards it's for, he posted something about when do we do the vote thing. So we got a Shovel Knight comic here. I remember those guys. My story's over, ain't that right? But with what name we shall not fight? Oh man, that's super rude. So rude that you're sweating through your armor. That's probably a dangerous health condition, buddy. Please seek help. Doctors are your friend, not your porcupine. And yeah, I'd say during, I don't remember if he has any plan for right after DT3, which is Rex Rocket, but yeah, but if the vote's done by then, shouldn't be an issue. I'm also thinking, so basically, I'm thinking that the best time part probably to do the vote would be after the Sword Travesty 3. But I basically, every person that had an opinion about when to do the vote, I added in their thing, even if they were not necessarily asking a question otherwise. Just to help people out, see all the different opinions on this, and kind of get a feel for what's going on and stuff. Willhart, maybe after DT3 would be a good time for the vote, depending on how long it takes, of course. And I mean, Willhart, that's kind of the problem. Of course, I don't know myself, but apparently the Sword of Travesty 3 is a very, very big game. It is sizable. It's gonna take a while. The problem is I don't know what is a while, maybe it's gonna be a 2-month project, which is technically long. Maybe it's gonna be like a Maggle X2 situation. I don't know. And if we are talking about a Maggle X2 situation, then I'm not sure, that case, I mean, personally, I don't mind holding on the voting up until then. But I mean, we could still do one beforehand and just basically get a hype for waiting. The main issue is the length of the game that is starting year 2016. And I mean, that's the thing. So, but I'm personally, at the very least, at this point in time, I that's what I would do too. I would, after Sword Travel Street 3 is done, I would open up the vote. And then we would do the vote during Rex Rocket. Then afterwards, when it's done, we know where we're going. That's how I would take things. But we'll see what else other things people think, I guess. But thank you for your input. Meatball right here. Dear Raukau, send this message to 10 people or the wizard will visit you tonight. Man, I want the wizard to visit me tonight, so I'm sending this to no one. Although I accidentally sent it out to 300 and something peeps. So, darn, I won't be visited by a wizard. I am sad. Because Nevis doesn't say you need to send it through, you know, video phone. Or at the very least an image. Armored Core Reprise number 9. 9 November. It's not even November. We don't got time for no Novembers. Armored Core's mecha video game. Where you drive a robot and it shoots a duck sometimes. And Famigdala has this to say: sometimes I lay in bed at night and ponder that. Gerald Buris. I don't sleep those nights. I have no idea what you're trying to convey, my anonymous friend. 9 with a circle around it, continues Meatball Rider. I don't know why. 1. How spooky have Friday the 13th been over the years? Friday the 13th have been mostly exactly like normal days for pretty much the entirety of my life. 2. Whether you measure spooks in, you use fright units indicated by capital F, small r. 3. If you had to have some sort of magical super eye installed, what classic magic eye powers would you choose from? Some classic wizard eye powers include, but are not limited to, laser eyes, the ability to see around corners. Wow, my voice had a thing there. Ability to see around corners, and swirly hypno shenanigans. Can I just have mind reading? I want selectable mind reading. That is very useful in most day-to-day situations. No more obfuscation. No more uncertainty. Nothing but the raw truth that even the person you're speaking to may not be aware of. 4. I like masks. What is perhaps the coolest mask you've ever seen? Oh, now that's a question. As soon as you said mask, the first thing I thought about was Majora's Mask, and I have to admit, it is kind of cool looking. It has a lot of details, and it's pretty fancy. So, maybe I'm leaning towards that. Like, I don't think about masks too much, so I don't know when I have... if I have, like, a lot in mind, like, sort of like... that I can refer to my brain space, like thinking, like if okay, well, just give me like a second. Think if I can think of any other masks that I may have encountered lately that particularly jumped out at me. Like, I'm just gonna go ahead and say though, Phanto is a pretty cool mask, and I think he's pretty cool. Like, I like the simplicity of it being a mask. Kokoro doesn't count because she has multiple masks. And you do use the singular there. Yeah, coolest mask singular, so I can't go there. Also, I just wish my answers didn't, like, my problem, I'm trying to think of cool masks, is that all I can think of are, like, kind of stereotypical things that you would totally expect me to say, and I feel that that is a disappointment. I don't know what else. Cool, masks are cool, but I never really thought about them all that much. Like, they're so iconic. Like, Jason Voorhees' mask. It's just a hockey player mask. But it's so, like, it has so many connotations, and it's so iconic. Masks are pretty great, and you know, a ski mask is gonna keep you warm in the harsh winter mountain climate too. So they have, you know, function in addition to kind of a coolness factor. And I feel unqualified to answer this. So I'm gonna. I've talked about masks. It's the best I'm gonna go. It's one of them in there, but I'm pretty sure like the absolute coolest mask. I'm just not thinking about it right now. 5. In what way? I'm gonna start that over. 5. In what ways do you imagine powerful wizard chess is different to vanilla chess? Well, they play 4-dimensional chess. Like, I mean, we think 3D chess is weird. 4D chess is kind of beyond our comprehension. Well, maybe not you, Meatball Rider, but for most of us, it is completely oblique. And, like, we wouldn't even be able to perceive it using our limited senses. And 6, what is my name? It's Meatball Rider. Like, you keep signing your messages Meatball Rider. That's because that's your name. You know, family name Rider, a long family tradition of, riding astride horses and whatnot. And your parents call you Meatball because they want to name you over their favorite thing, which is a really sweet thing to do. Although it's more of a salty thing for talking about meat. But I mean, you get where I'm going for here. Fusion Warrior. Hey there, Raocow. I disappeared and I kind of got my whole essence absorbed by the fact that I got a promotion at work and Fallout 4 came out, and basically my internet consumption got reduced to only your normal daily vids and a few Horikawa and Pyro vids. But today I've marathoned all the Patreon vids since November. Ouch, sorry about that. I have 2 questions for you today. 1, how did you feel when you saw both your and my... Okay. How did you feel when you saw both your and my most wanted playable characters are coming to Smibex 2? I thought it was pretty great, although I think what I might have done differently is have less characters in one shot and trickle it down through the... Because what happens is basically it was like a shock blast of information. It was just like, bam, And so I wonder if it affected the way I perceived everything. But no, it was very exciting to see what is possible. Although I'm still not sure exactly how they get integrated into Smibex 2. Because I believe you won't just have this box that makes you instantly change in them. I think you need to change a value in a Lua file or something. So I'm curious to see them in action. Apparently the characters play well in levels not made for them. I kind of want to see that. I think that's what's going to push the hype a little bit more over the edge. Personally, I think. But honestly, how I felt, I thought it was super amazing. How far Smibex has come since I started. I don't know if any of you remember, but when I started my first video that was on Smibex, the first few things I was talking about was basically how it was a dead engine, and what we got is basically what we're gonna get forever. That's not true anymore. Now it's the whole world is impossibly open. I was very excited and amazed by seeing all new characters, but it's almost really more as a reflection of what is actually gonna be possible. And I mean, the post-game of Megalix 2 hinted a lot of that. The map that had level aspects to it, that was super neat. And all, the subtle things. It's the subtle... The big things are always impressive, but it's the subtle things that makes things really work and meaningful. And we got a buttload of examples of that going in during the whole project. But I think I'm just kind of veering a bit too far off track here. I felt really excited. And really, yes. Yes. B, if you got invited to be the microphone jockey for the Mario block of SGDQ, and it was set up in a way so that the absolute only person whom your secret identity would be revealed to would be the singular lead organizer of the event, and you didn't have to interact with anyone else, and all expenses were paid for. Would you do it? I miss doing this. Aren't microphone peeps known people in the streaming, the speedrunning community? I feel like I wouldn't really be at my place, so to speak. I don't know, maybe it's wrong to think that way, but I think people quote unquote deserve it a lot more than I do. Also, you're implying people wouldn't recognize me by my voice / my accent? That's not gonna happen. I don't think so. Sure, my views aren't what they were 5 years ago, but those people, a lot of them is because they migrated from watching things on YouTube to watching things on Twitch, and I think they'll recognize my voice. My safety, the safety of my anonymity, I don't think it would last very long, especially not in Mario Block, where there is a lot of similitude in the audience. There's a lot of overlap. I appreciate your attempt there. I think it is a plan that is doomed to failure, at the very least in terms of keeping my identity discreet. Unless I was shuffled in a cardboard box with just my legs sticking out, make sure no one could see me. But even then, they would recognize my voice. Anyways, it's only a matter of time before someone accidentally spills some bacon grease on my cardboard box and it all disintegrates or something. So, good idea, perhaps. I don't think it is destined. I don't think it would end the way you think it would end, personally. Horikawa otane is all, what did child Howcow want to be when he grew up? Well, okay. If we go back at the youngest state of childhood here that I can remember wanting a job, when we're talking about 6-year-old Howcow that as of yet did not really understand the world around him, already I had a big interest in space stuff. And I would have answered you gladly. I wanted to be an astronaut because, you can't just be astronaut, right? That's just a job. They're not part of the military / scientists. But yeah, that was, I was interested in space. That's where I wanted to go. And for the longest time, honestly, until my teenage years, really, I think that, the grown-ups around me pretty much assumed I would be having a science-based career. Which I guess is not, impossible. I was doing very well at school and whatnot, but then when teenagehood happened, well, it's not that I didn't stop being good at school, but school became significantly less important to me, and things took turns. When I became a teenager, and I had to think about what I wanted to do, I was 100% aware that I wanted to live off of drawing in some fashion. Except I didn't want to just become an artist or something, because there's no way you can make a living out of that unless you're supremely lucky. So I thought about the jobs you could actually do drawing, and I figured, hey, I'll be an animator. I'll work in animation because I like cartoon a lot and whatnot. That seemed reasonable. But then, as I did research and whatnot, I realized that drawing the one thing, but with slight alteration all the time, isn't exactly what I wanted either, And I realized that pretty quickly. We had at some point an animation part at my high school, and for a year, and not without wanting to brag, I thought my thing was pretty neat, but it's been lost to time forever. I wish I still had it somewhere, but it was on a zip disk of all things, anyways. And I don't know where it is anymore, and it's completely lost. But I thought it was pretty neat. But I quickly figured out how tedious that was, so I shifted, because I still want to work in the art domain. I shifted attention from animation to teaching. In college, during my practicum, I realized I hate it. So, and eventually, at this point, we're coming away from what the child I wanted to be to what happened once adulthood became a thing. But yeah, so at the very start, it started with the science. It started with being an astronaut in the very more innocent years of Alcaf. But those dreams were stamped away pretty quickly. Well, that's not true. It was more like a gradual realization of things. Because when you're a kid, you like everything. It's only when you become a teenager that your taste becomes to develop a lot more precisely. And when you actually realize what you actually like to do. And so yes. The end. I hope I'm not upsetting anyone by posting this, but I feel like it is a little bit too early to start the next vote. Perhaps taking submissions, yes. My major worry is that we cannot predict what games will be out 2-3 months' time. Maybe the next big amazing game is just around the corner, and people will then regret voting for what they did. So I wouldn't be mad if we started a vote now. I do feel it is just a little bit early, however. That's a good point. So that's Alain Nana's opinion on the whole voting thing. Thank you for sharing. Belmore, hey Araucow. About last week's question, if in Nephilim, oh yeah, the Chinese thing that I answered questions real quick. In Nephilim, the players are powerful mythological creatures reincarnating into human beings, possibly over several lifetimes. Based on your answers, I'd say you would be a variation of the elf metamorphosis, Nephilim of the earth. I don't know what is the implication of this, but okay. On to this week's question, inspired by the Unknown Armies RPG, and music. Then there's a YouTube link I need to select, and then apply. And then I was distracted slightly by the reflection of sunlight on my mouse. Because that's something I've never seen before. Alright, let's see here what we got. Arnie Quino Taurus, 12 stars in sight. Man, that looks like something I'd paint. What do we got here? No commentary! Oh man. Kinda digging the sounds here. If you could have a set of powers based on video game tropes, what genre would you pick? For example, FPS could include instant healing by stepping on food or first aid kits, while platformers could have controllable jumps and randomly appearing power-ups. Well, the obvious answer to this, my friend, is it's the Civilization-style God game. Okay, basically, instant omniscience. I have complete control over the relative speed of time. I can implant suggestions and commands to vast swathes of people and members of government. It's great. And my body does not exist for real, so I cannot be harmed in any way, and I do not have any bodily needs. I guess the cost of this would be that I would essentially lose a physicality. So maybe it's not that clear an answer. But if I am to answer straight away on a whim, that's kind of where I want to go at. Are there any Civ games or games in a manner where there is also sort of player avatar? It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense because your character needs to be ageless. This song did not go where I thought it was going. But yes, this is honestly, that's still where I'm going. I'm willing to answer to to listen to other arguments for other genres. But I mean, it just seems like the clearest option. I mean, if you want to go all out, if you could limit yourself to a game, you're gonna be like the guy in Sim Earth and literally be God and shape the Earth, and it'd be impossible almost to make a planet that has life. That is a good time. Nikoishi is all. This is less a question and more of a suggestion. Would you ever consider... We got a huge swatch of text here for someone who just has a suggestion. Okay, anyways. This is a question, more of a suggestion. Would you ever consider doing an art piece for each LP you do? Maybe not super involved art pieces, but I think it'd be neat. Since you made a salty bet... Okay, so then suddenly you're moving on to other things. Honestly, I remember when I read this from you, when I was reading this after you had posted it, I thought about it, and... I think it sounds pretty exciting, actually. It sounds like something I really ought to do. I guess the issue is an issue of time. I just I wish I had more time to do that kind of thing. Because, like, just editing and whatnot, like, it's really tempting. I think it'd be really fun. I would need to justify, like, putting time aside to do it. Because, like, you're telling something not to elaborate, and probably wouldn't be too elaborate, but I would still, I'd still want to do a good job. Like, a decent job. And, it's so tempting. Also, where a problem could be, so we've got options. Like, either I could start when a project begins, so that would give me that amount of time to do it, but then you'd end up in a situation where, what if it's a game that's completely blind? In that case, it would only be like this perfunctory, based on the first video type of thing. And I don't know if that would be really worth it, but it's still a good question. Like, I wish, like, there was a time back in the essay days where I would, like, draw, like, very, very simple thumbnails myself for the different videos. And honestly, I kind of miss doing that. And now you're reminding me of this, and I'm like, man, yeah, I need to find a way to do it. I need to find a way to justify doing it, and I don't know how yet. I need to find a way, though. But, because I agree, it would be a good idea. I don't know, it forced me to do more, to put art out there more publicly, which I'll admit I am extremely bad at. And, yeah. No, it is a good idea. It is a good idea. Anyways, also you continue. Since you made a Salty Bet reference in this video, tune in and watch precisely one match. Who are the fighters, and how was the match? Well, let's go check it out. So, we'll go to Salty Bet. Let's see what opens up. Hopefully we're going to be at the start of a match. And hopefully the soundtrack isn't going to be a problem. Let's see here. What, just to be safe? Let's not take any chances. Oh, we're in the tournament. Okay, well, so we'll wait until this match here. Well, okay, so yeah, the match is just gone over. So Hotaru 11 versus Atlas. Hotaru from Garou. Atlas, I have no idea, but I don't know what is the source of Atlas, but I remember seeing him before in Salty Bet. What tournament is this? It's 8 here. Alright, so it's gonna be, I don't know, like Hotaru is really fun to play. And Garou, Atlas, again, what's the situation with the arms? How many corpses do you need to desiccate to create a body? Like, you clearly could find a giant hand somewhere. Why do you need to stick a whole bunch of tiny ones together? That is not efficient. What are you guys doing? This corpse look like they use, like, torso of an animal rather than a human person. Alright, so he has shiny aura powers and big swacks, while Hotaru can kick lasers and also, you know, do a little dance thing combo there, super. Oh, we've got spells. Man, I don't know, like, are spells stronger than ki, or are they equivalent? That's a question that I am not equipped to answer, unfortunately, so I really don't know. But he has a very limited moveset. I'm kind of sad that he's probably gonna win, because all he's doing is chucking spells and just that very vague, awkward, I'm removing all this fish from this water source. Which is, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's pretty powerful and impressive in person. But as a spectator sport, it kind of leaves to be desired. Oh, that was a pretty cool super flash kick. Unfortunately, it was blocked. Look at that. There's the Atlas Revenge. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, maybe Hotaru has a chance. Pretty exciting. She has a pet ferret, but didn't appear in that victory pose. We saw the pet ferret in her intro, in case you missed it. Alright, so it's pretty close, actually. It's pretty close, but it favors Atlas. Like, if I was a betting man, and this is a betting site, yeah, I would put things, I think Atlas is a safer bet, but I kind of want Hotaru. Hotaru, you know, she has 2 meters, GC and Stan. popular meter group, always seen together. Oh, I don't know. Ataru's kind of coming back up. Maybe she just needed a rally, kind of learn what this guy's about. Then afterwards, done her downloading. Now she's ready to ruin a robot's day. I don't know. It's like this could be hers, although she's losing real bad. Like she needs to use her supers basically. If there's anything I saw, is that supers is the key to this fight, because her normal attack, they add up, but they just don't do enough. Oh, it's that move, alright. See, look how big of a difference that is. And there we go, Hataru won, happy day, a ferret appeared out of nowhere. That's how serious this has become. Phew, alright, phew. The match was pretty... I thought it was going to be a wash and pretty dumb, but turns out it was pretty exciting. Alright, and we've got another YouTube link here I gotta go to. Alright, so let's post links. Let's go on the internet. This YouTube link. Splatoon! Oh boy, that's a half-hour thing, so let's not go too far there. Those are the Squid Sisters from Splatoon. That's their name. See, it says though right there. Live. Wait, live? Record from Nico Nico Tug. Wow, okay. Wait, so they had a live show with fictional characters like they were doing with Hatsune Miku like a few back? That's a countdown. That's when you go down numbers in the reverse sequential order. Yeah, that's on the stage. Let's just kind of zip forward a little bit. Okay, yeah, so it's holograms on the stage. That always seems so creepy to me. I don't know. It's so... Well, I mean, in this case, they got, like, really weird proportions, so it's not that bad. Like, but it's still... It's fascinating what technology can do, not even in fields that matter, but in the field of entertainment, of all things. But I just, personally, I don't see the attraction of going to such a show, because as a dance, this is really goofy. And the music, it is what it is. That's so weird. That's so neat. If you've got a time, when do you think of stuff like this being possible now? You can skip around if you want, but I think it's pretty neat. You don't need to, like, show the vid itself on Panabon or anything, since it's pretty long. Yeah. Also have some for a person that has no questions. For a person that has no questions. Now we got Toho music. Never had any of those before. Upbeat! Fall of Heart! There's Koishi, Heart's Desire, and Chloe Hammersmith's all as happy as it is. I'm feeling a very vague undertone of sadness, like it's saying goodbye. I don't know. Just my thought. Keep your thoughts to yourself, internet! Also, have some Toho music. So I think you missed my stuff from last week, but I'll just repeat them. Sorry about that. Again, if it ever happens, just tell me and repeat the content. I'm very, very sorry. Sometimes it slips through. I apologize. Anyways, thank you so much for drawing the Koishi. What are your favorite and least favorite bosses? Now you have questions. What are your favorite and least favorite bosses in The Binding of Isaac, Rebirth and Afterbirth? I think my favorite would be Littlehorn, while my least favorite is a tie between the Bloat and Skolex. My least favorite is definitely the Bloat. My favorite is probably... Littlehorn is really good, honestly. He's a pretty great guy. But I don't know which one I would consider my favorite. Man, it's been a little while since I played it. Honestly, I really like the Lamb. Like, it's one of the final bosses. I very like its design. It's really fun, and it's oddly complicated and complex in what it can do, which is too bad, because by the time you can get to the Lamb, you're probably super overpowered and won't really see much of anything. And like the way that the stage plays with the lighting, where his room is typically really dark, and you almost rely on the light of his power-ups to see what's going on, it's kind of a neat added touch, even if kind of almost unfair. But he's just a very particularly well-designed boss in my mind. Littlehorn, though, he's really cute. I just think he's kind of annoying to fight if you just so happen to not be very powered up by the time you get to him, because he's he's a basement level boss. Well, burning basement, not cellar. He's a cellar boss. Burning has nothing to do with bosses. I totally nominate going for more aesthetic stuff if possible. Like perhaps Tomorrowland 2, 6 golden coins. Your Snow aesthetic run was really interesting, and I love to see more. One last thing. Try to think about Black Plague without laughing. Black Plague. Okay, well, honestly, that's going to be very easy. Because I was kind of saturated with Black Plague-related stuff, so... This is... I can resist. Like, yeah, the laugh will still come if I let myself be. But it's not the hardest thing in the world to sustain anymore, unfortunately. I mean, that's always going to happen with a community. The internet is regrettably very bad at restraint, you know, when it meets a joke that it likes. I mean, that's fine. That's understandable. It's going to happen. But it happens. And like, I wouldn't say that, oh no, they ruined Black Plague for me. Like, that's a ridiculous thing to think. And a very silly sentence if you really think about it. But that's basically how it is. So yeah. Penguin Emperor. Oh man, squee. How does a squee sound in reality? Like, I see the word squee often written down on the internet, but I'm not sure what sounds like human sound it's supposed to represent. This is like the cutest art piece object thing I've ever seen, yo. I mean, that was a really cool picture you made, oh man, cow dude. Anyway, I've come up with an essential question for RPG-type people that I don't think you've addressed yet. If you haven't, oops, I'm asking again anyway. Question. While we know what weapon types and elements you would use and would be weak to, man, are you glaringly weak to wind elemental, what class, parentheses, tank, agile, glass cannon, healer, etc., of character would you be in an RPG? My guess is tank, because you tend to beat your face into things, but feel free to disagree. Would God, Emperor, Raocow be in the same class or a different one? I kind of agree with tank, honestly. Like, it's probably the safer option for me too, considering how I tend to handle solutions. If we're talking about real, like, I have experience in MMOs and whatnot, and in those games I would tend to either play tank or healer, if only for the benefit of being able to heal myself while I otherwise tank. So it basically becomes a heal tank. So yeah, no, that's how I approach situations. There's nothing wrong with that, I hope, because otherwise I'm gonna have problems. But yeah, no, you're completely right. I cannot really argue with you there. The funny thing is that if you asked me several years in the back, like before I did LPs and stuff in video games, I was way more into the agile long distance type. So it's kind of funny how things change over time. Actually, yeah, thinking about it, like when I was playing D3, Diablo 3 briefly, the class I had the most fun with was Demon Hunter, because it felt like playing a twin stick shooter kind of. So even then, but if we're talking about me personally, yeah, probably definitely some kind of tank. If like honestly, probably the best for me would be a distance tank. So basically, like I tank things, but I actually attack from a distance. There's some games and whatnot that enable that kind of thing to happen. That's probably where I would be at. God Emperor Raocow, though, doesn't count. Like, he's more of a boss character, so he doesn't really have a class per se. Like, honestly, if he does have a class, like, he's probably more, like, in some kind of magical type, like wizard or something. But he's a kind of cheaty final boss that can do anything. It's really not fair and kind of lame, really, honest. Don't invite him on your team. He's just gonna hog everything, including all the glory. Be kamikazes, all give me context. That's what I said before. And he's like, okay, boss, Popo's the blonde girl in the song's video, and she's the wind witch, meaning she can control the wind with her voice and fly around and stuff. The Vault Shower is an ability she unlocks really late game. It basically lets her perform the song mid-battle, which casts a huge spell over the entire map. Whole plot of the game was, yo, you gotta get all the elemental witches, otherwise this evil witch lady is gonna destroy things. And Popo's the second one you get. Why is she named after the police? Oh, sorry for rambling there. I like the game a lot, and that song is my favorite from the whole OST. If you take enough of your time with this, I'm not gonna put a question or any other music here. I'll just put a picture. I'm gonna blindly open up a picture on a video. That's never gonna lead to problems. I shouldn't even say that out loud, because that's gonna lead to problems. Anyways. Hey, it's Lele! / Shenko, depending on if you take the localization. Is that an original thing you found somewhere, or /made, or because I don't recognize this from the game? It's very soft compared to treatment that Darkstalker stuff tends to have. Ah, but it's super cute! And her hat is literally Gohan's hat from Dragon Ball. So I see what's going on here. Sweeping the floor that doesn't exist with your oversized arms / hands / giant blades. Gonna scruff up that tile. Oh, jeez. That, I swallowed a bit there. Sorry. Micofire has a music request. Oh, that Micofire. Always requesting music. What a thunderbolt. Paprika, the girl in Byakuya. This is your brain on anime. Well, I mean, I can't deny that. What do you got to say? So, Cat and Pillows, oh man, I still shiver while listening to it years after. And this was back in 2000, no, well, Paprika's from 2009, that's from 4 months ago. Alright. Probably could put a little bit more volume. I try not to put too much volume, but there's such a thing as not able to hear anything ever in the history of forever. One, which Ninja Turtle, or as my mom once called them, Tinja Turner, are you most like? Back in the day, going back to Raucaf time, I probably related more to Donatello, and I mean, I still think he's probably the best turtle in terms of fun times, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know what that sentence meant there, but I said it. But I don't know, if I'm being honest with myself, I don't know which one I would be the most like. Because, like, man, because that's hard. That's a hard... Because, see, you've got 4 characters that have very different personalities. And, which have also kind of different connotations to them. Like, I'm not a science man. I don't have the patience for that. But I'm not exactly the most responsible person in the universe. And I am very clearly an introvert. And I like to think that, you know, I guess Raphael's the one I have the most trouble denying any similitude to. Which is really weird to think about. Does that seem accurate to anyone? Because to me that just seems weird. But I can't refute it as easily. I mean, I'm not surprised that I wouldn't necessarily, like, not prefer the one that I'd be most alike. But I'm still super surprised. Please refute this for me, because this is weird. Going by elimination wasn't a good idea, it's too honest. 2, hardcover or paperback? Hardcover, all day, every day. 3, have you read any books? Have you read any good books lately? Winking emoticon, still making my way through Watchmen, actually. It's a slow grind, because for a while I did not have all that much time to read, actually. But I took the time yesterday, of all things, actually. Man, reading Watchmen is really interesting, because through cultural osmosis in the nerd side of culture, you know, unbeknownst to me, and sometimes beknownst, I've been subjected to a lot of, like, famous quotes that I didn't necessarily know was from the Watchmen. And it's interesting seeing them pop up and seeing in what context, and seeing how culture may or may not, like, kind of ripped up the original meaning of the quote and how it's typically used. That is super fun and interesting. That is such a good book also. Like, it lives up to its hype so well. I'm so glad that I got it. If I can also make a suggestion of something I've discovered lately that's not in book form, well, I mean, not yet. There's a monthly manga that's very young still, only has 2 issues, called Ill Boy, Ill Girl. I think that's how it's translated. It's super neat. As y'all know, I'm a big sucker for being entranced in terms of visual style, and it has a very particular visual gimmick that I think is super neat how it's applied and how it's like related to in terms of fiction. And yeah, I'm just gonna put that down without going into any more details because that's the kind of thing I do. 4 favorite writers. Writers, that is a question that has changed a lot through time. As someone who basically made it through the entirety of the oeuvre, other than all the Black Towers of Stephen King while he was a teenage, unless he released stuff until then. But you know, like it's. But if you ask me if Stephen King was that great of an author, I don't know. Same thing with like Song of Fire and Ice. Grimm, like, obviously knows what he does, but is he my favorite author? I don't think so. I like the writing, but I'm not feeling that kind of favorite thing sort of connection. I really, I don't know the author, but I mean, okay, it's like Sayonara Senzetsu Sensei is still one of my favorite overall thing in existence. And it's all entirely on the sharpness of the writing. I just feel bad because I don't think I've ever learned his name. And I'm realizing that right now. I feel so bad about it. But it's probably up there. One is an excellent writer. The writer of the original webcomic of One Punch Man. That is an excellent writer. Dude, and I mean, like, when you can write so well in a way that transcends culture, like you know, it's written in Japanese, then it gets translated, but it's still, the core remains whole, mostly unchanged. It's just, there's something so incredible about that. So honorable mention there for sure. Michael Crichton's an author I read a lot of when I was younger, but I've just basically stopped for no reasons I can tell. So it's a weird. I'm not connected to books all that much. I used to read a whole lot more than I do now. I feel I'm too disconnected to have a favorite writer now, as I'm sitting here on an orange chair. 5. If you were a boss fight in a video game, what attacks would you have, and what would your weakness be? I'm gonna assume one of those kind of like HP sponges that take a sizable part of the screen / arena with wide attacks, but that are perhaps kind of slow, like big, large, wide attack that take a very big part of the screen. But that's the thing, like they're relatively slow. So if you've got, if you're good at dodging, you can get my glowing weak point relatively consistently, then you shouldn't have too much of a problem. It'd be more of an endurance test, like enduring tests of dodging, perhaps somewhat predictable, but, constant wide attacks seems to fit in. Like, if you were to take how I play video games and blow that up to a boss, I think that sounds pretty accurate. 5.5. Also, what would your boss theme music be? Well, that, I don't know. Like, I can't just do that like that. Like, you're asking me to make up music out of the blue? That's just not happening. Like, would it be something kind of like rocking, I hope? Like, like just some nice guitar work? But it's just maybe like, I'm gonna make up a melody on the spot, and I'll just imagine that just kind of like worked upon and reiterated musically during a 2 or 3 minute piece, like something that goes like Except, but more. Like, because that all I did there was some kind of backbeat even. It wasn't enough for a melody. But that's all that comes to mind right now. I don't know why I've got something Yoshi Island-esque in my head, because that doesn't make any sense. 6! What would you give to a newly arrived space alien as a gift? I may not be able to eat much cheese myself, but I would be remiss as a Quebecois if I did not expose my newly arrived space friend to some poutine. 7. A powerful explosion destroys most of your current physical form, but luckily a passing scientist for justice manages to salvage your brain and transfer it into a robot body. What gadget does this newly created robot possesses? Man, as long as you give me Wi-Fi internet access, I'm fine. USB plug and, a bunch of saw-related items to cut cut swatches of paths. Maybe something to put down grains in the sand, in the soil, and then water to keep it refreshed. I'm gonna be a robot, so there's chances I'm gonna survive the robot apocalypse while humans won't. So it's gonna be on me to make sure that the survivors get some good gardening tools. And that is the first step towards ascending to God Emperorhood. Oh man, some of the lore is being unmasked today. 7.5, and what does it look like? It looks like a robot. It's big and blue. It's weirdly spherical. Has 3 legs for added balance. Then you got an art request that I did add to the list. So if ever I get to a penguin and a bunny happily riding pogo sticks down the street, y'all try to remember that it's from Micofire. I probably won't, sadly. This one looks like it's gonna be a long video. Oh boy. Unless a lot of these things are quick questions. Alright, Sins! Glad you liked the music last week. I was kind of tied up reading this translated Japanese novel called Kumo Dezuga Nanika. You could say I was caught like a fly in a web by it, tilde. Anyway, music from the same person. So I gotta load up music here. Music is a thing where sounds are repeated in a pattern using tones that are considered good. Well, that's piano. She's wearing like a stuffed animal on her wrist. That bear looks real sad. I don't know what anything this is though. And Lily Pichu has this to say: by far the best version I've heard. I wish I knew what it was, but okay. This song is the opening for an anime called Himuto Yumaru-chan. Unrelated asks, say you are transported into fantasy world with all the knowledge you have now, have to live your life as a low-level mob of your choosing. Say a slime, goblin, wolf, giant spider, or something similar. What would you choose? Also, you can level up and become stronger and bigger eventually and have skills like an RPG game. Is it related because the main character of the novel I'm reading is Giant Spider, Memories of a High School Student? That's kind of a funny, interesting sort of setting. Of the examples you give, I think slime sounds like the best one. I think being a slime would be super cool. I don't know if it's the best idea though, because you think you'd want something that, you can relate to, back from my human body. So if I were to pick slime, would I be able to live as a slime with the different biological needs and whatnot that implies? It's the kind of thing we don't really think about. Having a spider, suddenly becoming a spider, suddenly you're an octopod and you have very different needs in terms of feeding yourself and keeping yourself warm and abbreviated and whatnot, But assuming that that's kind of all handled by the magic of juicy fruits, then yeah, I think a slime would be super cool. You can, ooze, you can have several shapes, you can fit underneath doors, and that's super great. That's super neat. Lovely Penguin! Another Penguin masterpiece last week. I am a pleased penguin. Have some music. Man, it's just a good thing the other one was really short, I guess. There we go. There we go. Doink. Doink, doink, doink. So what do we got here? Hina's Fluffy Dream, final level. I never did the final level. I stopped at the... just before... Well, maybe it's the final level before the post game. Snod and Valadon, I know who you are. Hugo has to say the best theme and nice game. I love this game too much. I don't really. There's a reason I haven't really came back to it. I feel kind of sad about it, but it made decisions I wasn't a fan of. In regards to your answer last week's what makes a good hero question, that a hero is someone willing to do anything to protect the people, no matter the cost. There have been villains who fit the same description. Take a look at the well-intentioned extremist page on TV Tropes, and you will find several individuals who are willing to do anything to protect the people as a whole, even if it means taking away rights or outright killing members of the group they swore to protect if they were to stop them. Just some food for thoughts. Oh, I agree with you. In terms of fiction, I find that the fallen hero, or like just basically, yeah, like the sort of, it's like, it's not an anti-hero, you know? It's like, sort of like, but it's another kind of meld between hero and villain. I believe are the most interesting characters out there. Mostly because in real life, you know, everyone's a protagonist, you know? No one considers themselves the villain. Everyone is out there to make the world better. In their own way, may it be misunderstood or not. And it's when you remove the black and whiteness of a story that things finally get a chance of being way more interesting. And that's a good thing. That makes me happy. And no, yeah, I agree with you. Wellington, those are some of my favorite kind of villain. Like I've answered before, though, I like a villain that has a good time. But like that's more of a description of the person rather than what they're outset doing. If you're asking to me about my perfect motive for a villain, it is very much the well-intentioned extremist, because it's just so insanely relatable. It's insane how relatable it is. I just repeated the exact same thing, except I changed an adjective to an adverb. But that's just how much true it is. It's just, yeah. Yes. Adam Gordon. 1. Glad you have seen MST3K, Puma Man. He flies like a moron. Would folks here be interested in doing a Let's Watch of one of the funnier ones I hadn't seen before? I've seen every episode. I think one of the observed Japanese ones, like Prince of Space, would be particularly fun to watch together. P.S. www.club-mstk3.com. That's more a question for you guys. Would that be something that would be interesting? I'm pretty sure the answer that's going to be mostly anonymously yes, but the question has been asked, so I don't think anyone would say no to more. I'm not sure how I would organize something like this, but maybe it'd be a good idea. I'm not sure, like, are there any resources out there where it could, like, because, like, Let's Watch, like, in the way that I normally do videos would be kind of awkward to do, right? Like, do you think there would be an easy way, well, maybe not necessarily easy, but a relatively simple way to arrange? Like, I just don't want to just, like, I can't really show the footage or the sound, so it would have to be something live, but I don't think that's something you can do on, like, Twitch or something, or Hitbox. So, I don't know how the method would be, but I think it would be pretty fun. I agree. I don't know if I would be a good host to a sort of Let's Watch kind of situation thing. I don't know. It's a good question. A lot of people are having really good suggestions these days, and I'm always met with this sort of reaction. Man, you know what? That's a really good idea. I'm just not sure how to implement it, but I kind of want to see it happen. It keeps happening. Stop having good ideas. You're making me look like a schlub. Also, you put down a 1, but I'm not seeing any other questions. Did it got eaten by Patreon or something? If you have, let's go. You know, let's go check real quick. All right, let's see. So yeah, as I was saying, the audio only peeps. Where? Oh, that's how it works. Creator post. I put the thing on pause because I didn't want to be where are you at? All of them? Oh, view all 30. I didn't want my password or something to accidentally get revealed because that would be unfortunate. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, no, this stuff I'm gonna get to later. This is all stuff we're gonna get at eventually. No, you start with 1, and then that's it. So I guess maybe it did just get eaten by Patreon glorious system of writing down things. If so, I'm sorry. Gregory Coca-Cola, favorite and least favorite Zelda enemy. Regular enemies, not bosses. Favorite is the tick type because I think it is cool in terms of design. It's just this big giant bug that's floating around. It's kind of neat. Least favorite is the pea hat because its chief ability is that it flies everywhere, it's in a way, and then it sits there being invincible for 3 hours. It is the worst thing. No hyperbole were used in this answer. Woofar. In the most recent Megalex Redux video that horikawa uploaded, you guys were talking about how some levels in Megalex 2 were and weren't memorable. So just out of curiosity, do you remember mine at all? I won't be offended or upset if you don't, what with there being almost 300 levels. If you don't remember and give up, here's a hint. Woopar. I honestly, give me one screen and I'm gonna remember. But, you need to be in the top or the bottom. Ultras? Oh, the super squid level, probably. Yeah, I think. Maybe. I'm not even sure. There were a lot of levels, and after half a year, almost, they kind of really blend in. They need a really strong character for me to have, meaningful memory. And I think it's really unfortunate, but, I mean, that's the reality of that kind of event. Harold Tross get me on camera for a little bit. But no, I'm sorry about that. But, oddly enough, I remember author-level relationships better in Megalex the first than the second one. But I think that is more an accessory of Megalex 2 levels being overly complex. They try so hard to be complicated that they lose meaning, and they just don't register in my brain head. If my brain was somewhere else, maybe it'd be different, but, I mean, human biology is what it is, so that's the situation. Telemon, is there a proper way to capitalize God Emperor Raocow, God Emperor Raocow, God Emperor Raocow, God Emperor Raocow, God Emperor Raocow? Please advise. I'm just gonna, because this question makes no sense if you don't have visuals, but it's over here. This one here. This one here. This one here. Audio people only. It's capital G hyphen capital E space small letter R. That's how it goes. It's very simple. Weimar saying also music request. Unless you want the instrumental version, let's just jump ahead to instrumental version of things. Instrumental versions is fun, exciting. Zebras start doing backflips. Chalky Wood, Etrian Mystery Dungeon soundtrack. That guy's on the plane that is also a clarinet. Or, no, it's just a mace that's supposed to be behind her, I think. I preferred my clarinet playing idea better. Sorry, original artist. This guy's face here, what's his name? SDW4527 says, still can't stand sickwood / gasser trees. XD, what does that even mean? I do not have the necessary context to understand here. Why just sing me this music, Weimar Sane? There's not even a question attached to this because you asked your question earlier. I remember this even though it was an hour ago and my throat is on fire. Zepto, I wasn't aware that Rex Rocket would be coming next in the B-side, so I thought this would be a good time for deciding when to vote. I suppose I can give a reminder when you start or about halfway on Rex Rocket. Nah, start is a good time. It's gonna give us time. I don't know how long that game is either. I never know anything. This is the problem when you're trying to do things as blind as possible, because that's what you know people like. You can't really plan for anything. And even that is all. What is the origin of the humble Goopa? Who has created them? Honestly, I honestly don't know. All I know is that when ASMT, the original, was being designed, people knew we wanted to keep the iconic shells, because they're so iconic to, you know, Mario ROM hacking elements. But I don't know who has the idea of making a slime. I have to assume it was based on the assy enemy of the Vips, but I'm not the person to ask. I was kept deliberately out of most things. ASMT the first. Oh, I don't know if that survived somewhere in the archived threads of that project. That would be the only way to know. Otherwise, I don't know. I just don't know. Unless you mean in the lore, in which case I super don't know. D. Sometimes when a message box pops up in-game you're playing, you start reading text out loud but don't finish, or you read it but change some words lol randomly. I assume this is because you're done reading it in your head while it's still talking, but it actually makes it really hard for me to read along. Sometimes I stop the video to read it myself in case the text is useful. This isn't meant as a complaint, really. I was just legitimately wondering if you had noticed doing this, or if anyone else had ever mentioned it. I don't mean to change your behavior on video, and I'm really sorry if it makes you self-conscious, if it makes you self-conscious or anything. If it does, please get a wizard. Erase this from your memory. Here your popular target for the random spells. Basically, yes, I have noticed this. I'm trying to change this, but it's just something that I do. But yeah, the situation is I read faster in my head than I'm reading out loud. And at some point, like, at the time I'm done, I'm like, but I don't want to continue doing. I don't need to continue this. I know what's going on. I think it would be better off if I wouldn't be reading anything, so that not to disturb peeps, but I know that some people enjoy having part of it at the very least read out loud. Reading in video is an interesting problem. I don't want to be reading out everything when there's a huge amount of text, because that just makes everything take way too long. But then you have to consider people for whom it is a benefit, so you have to kind of, measure what benefits the most people. And yeah, it's a weird, unique problem that I'm still not sure really how to address, and it's pretty much a game per game, situation per situation, case by case kind of thing. But I'm aware of it, and I mean, don't feel so self-conscious about giving what is legitimately, constructive criticism. God knows, I could use more of that. I am the textbook definition of working in an echo chamber, and I have to go to outside sources where they may be speaking about me to learn about things I can improve. So, don't be afraid of it, man. I went through art school. I have had my share of undressings. Don't worry, yo. Cubic Tom, without giving you any spoilers about the game, here are some random jump stats. Jump being what I'm playing after VIP 2, by the way, peeps who don't know. Yeah, here are some random jump stats from my playthrough so far, just to get excited for the game, if you aren't already. I've had over 1,000 deaths, but still haven't finished World 3. A single level on average now takes me 70 lives and over an hour of playing. It's absolutely a talk house VIP, even more so than ASMT. Some jank aside, Jump is the best collab Mario ROM hack I've ever seen. Maybe you should request some custom musics before you start playing the game yourself. In 21 videos, I've gotten 18 copyright claims from Nintendo. Most levels have important custom musics, but not all. So on a scale of Brutal Mario to Vanilla Contest 2015, how hyped are you for Jump? Speaking of ROM hacks, how do you feel about VIP 2 now that you're replaying it safe stateless? It's hilarious how you install the game pretty much every video, but still seem to enjoy it. Okay. There's a lot of things here. Now, I remember that you wrote that you're playing basically jump from the position of someone who is not used to playing Mario. So I'm pretty sure our experience are gonna be at a very slightly bit different. Nonetheless, yes, I am super excited to giving it a try. VIP 2, like, it's a hard game, but it's considered kind of to be like a sort of practice run to get me ready for jump, which is to tell how much I expect the game to smash over my face. But I expect it to be really fun while it's happening, and I'm looking forward to it. Funnily enough, VIP 2, I expected it to be harder than it is. Like, we're now in the part of the game where I am getting a bit of problems, like, during the game proper, but I expected that to happen way earlier than it did. And I think it's a testament of how, like, overall better I am since the days when I was just spamming rewind / save states all the time. And that's why, you know, save states like tools are such a crutch that will stop your development in getting good at a game. And like that's as big of a proof as it is. So yeah, so in the scale you've made up, Vanilla Contest 2015 is pretty much right where my excitement is. And about your thing about acclaims, now funnily enough, VIP 2, almost all vanilla music, but I barely got any claims. By which I mean I don't. It's all due to visual stuff, those and I do. My trick is, you'll notice the music is considerably lower than it should be. I apologize for that, but I mean, I'm just protecting myself there. And I make sure to speak all the time, and I speak louder than the music, so the robots that study the graphs, they can't detect it. So I don't know if you've got swatches of silences. Either consider replacing the music, saying something post, or lowering the music, or do something, because that's what's gonna kill you. 30 seconds of uninterrupted Mario music is gonna do this. Keep that in mind. It's helpful stats for a beginner Let's Play person playing Nintendo stuff to learn. Kinikami, this is definitely the best video game boss I've ever seen. That's a link. I don't know, like, if you're gonna say it like that, sounds to me like it's gonna be some kind of joke. Let's find together out.
More exciting. Let's see what the boss is. Yeah, I figured it'd be you, and... But to get here, you need the powered-up sword. I'm just... I'm stunned.
Horikawa is stunned. That game has problems. That game is... At first, I was the one who was supposed to Let's Play, but then Horikawa decided to. In the alternate universe where I'm the one that's playing Roth, I think my tongue would have been a lot more acidic throughout the entire run. That is such a ridiculous thing, though. And why we're saying is back like the third time. I think Earth has been taken over by aliens, and now humanity needs a powerful wizard to save them. Do you know any who could help? And then you're giving me a PNG file. I don't know. The PNG wizard is probably going to be useful. Let's find out. That's not a wizard at all. It's a man with a little cyber fairy. I don't know what's the situation in the corner there. What's this? What is this from? Come from video game? Like, I don't know the reference. What is this game from? Man. There's a lot of jokes in there. It's kind of good. It's kind of clever. Thank you very much for make. So you need powerful wizards. Get some wizrobes, man. Like, not only are they wizards, but they're completely and utterly expendable, since they're minions too. So no, it's like win-win there. It's Mama Bo. Do you still keep in touch with any of your friends from school, college? Nope. Just nope. There's no other answer than that. Not really. I just completely lost touch. We live completely different lives, and so it goes. I don't feel bad about it or anything, too. Also, experiment time. What happens if you put a music request right at the end of a video? Know that this experiment will fail miserably if someone else comments before you record, or if this comment's too late to be read. But details. Yeah, unfortunately, Pizza Pony, like, sniped the rear end of this thing, and he posted a thing, like, right before I started recording this, so sorry about that. But hey, we get Pokemon's Business, my Earthbound. I'm pretty sure Earthbound is the band that plays the song, right? That's how it works. Oh, this piece of music is so good. Deku Scrubber says, Sega does what Nintendo don't, they say. What? Okay, sure, have fun there. What I would have done... Oh man, I can't not think of Run Run Roo. What I would have done basically is save the link and use it as a starting point for the next video, which is what I'm gonna do with Pizza Pony. Pizza Pony, I like it if we did the vote early. Something to get hyped for. Music if there's time. There isn't, so we're gonna start with that next time. Question. I think of good questions while I'm at work, then I forget them immediately when I get home. 1. What instrument with the music cow means business use? What instruments plural, huh? Make something that works that uses violin, a cello, guitar, trumpet, drums, tambourine, xylophone. That's a lot of instruments to play together, which is not necessarily very easy to do because it needs to sound good. 2. What is your junglest of Japs you have ever been a witness to? Never been to jungle. Also, what? 3. No, really, I don't know. What's it like? All I know is Jungle Japes is level in Donkey Kong the Country, but I've never went there personally. Only went there in video forms. So I once played through the level Jungle Japes in Donkey Kong Country. I wasn't just a witness. I was a player. Throat is killing me. Oh my god. 3. You've mentioned your height or approximation, but what is your weight? Approximate. I honestly don't know. I have not weighted me literally in years. I mean, I haven't measured myself also literally in years, but like height doesn't change as frequently nor as dramatically as weight possibly can. So I cannot answer you there. I don't even own a scale. 4. A devious Jinn has cursed your vision to see all being as just their skeletons. How do you cope with this? Honestly, I don't know if I would. Like, I can totally imagine myself getting a mental breakdown and just shutting off as a human. And either just get crazy in some kind of way. I literally don't think I would be able to cope. If I would, it would just be because of force of will, of just being, like, in constant contact. Because I know the human as a species is really good at adapting. But I cannot imagine myself being able to make it through, like, any significant amount of time. I would hermit up and just, like, lock myself, and I would, like, die of starvation, because I wouldn't be able to go out and get myself some food. 5. A dervish has changed the fabric of reality, and now Iris is the main protagonist, and Demo is just the Luigi. How do you cope with this? Well, I mean, if the fabric of reality has changed, that means that at the onset Iris was always created first rather than Demo, and so basically any attribute of Iris would have gone to Demo and vice versa. Unless you mean to say that they would exchange status as protagonists and non, but still remain, like, still keep their unique aspects in terms of personality and development. In which case, again, I would be used to that, but it would be a strange situation where I genuinely prefer the secondary character. Like, that's just how it is, man. You can switch reality all you want, but some constants will always reemerge in the pattern, which is life. And 6, final question. It's almost done. A cow comes to your door and claims that you're its father. How do you cope with this? With wide open arms. See you next time, guys.